Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the follow-up video I said I was going to do. So, I've not powered on the wheel or the wheelbase, and in a minute when I go to this webcam, sorry about the poor webcam quality, it's just a Logitech C920, and it's nowhere near as good as this that I'm looking to you on now. But hopefully it'll be enough, just to give you more info on the wheel, how everything works. And I've left it off for a reason. So where to start? Right. In case you got any questions about how you use this with wheelbases, with a Simhub or an Acertech, you just simply bolt the quick release from that manufacturer onto the hub that's on the wheel, and you're done. With Fanatec, it's a little bit different, and it makes it a little bit more expensive. So let me just unplug the wheel. I've got the cable hooked up to it at the moment. Okay, there we go. So, right, so what we've got here, I showed you, I touched on this briefly in the first video. The gold part is the hub. Now, Fanatec want you to use their wheels. If you want to use another wheel, or if you just want to use like a big rally wheel without any buttons, you need to buy a hub. So this is the Podium Hub. Now, this isn't a quick release. When you buy a Podium Hub, you get a QR1 for free, or if you tick the box for a QR2, then you pay the extra to get a QR2 shipped with it. So I've just got a QR1 on here at the moment, and so the Podium Hub comes exactly as you see it. You don't use the little USB-C there for anything other than connecting a button module. So that's what powers the Podium endurance button module thing. So yeah, it adds a little bit of length from you to the wheelbase because of this. It makes it quite long. So I've got my wheelbase further back now, and it's behind the monitor. Excuse me. But that's it. If you try and just directly connect this to the base, you won't have any force feedback, because Fanatec basically lock out the force feedback if you connect another wheel. So if I was to attach the quick release straight to the hub, what would happen is I would just have no force feedback. This makes the wheelbase know that you've got a Fanatec wheel attached. So I'll show you what happens in the software when I power it on. So let's go to the other view. Right. So this is the C920. I'm sorry it's not very good, but let's go to here for now. So I'm going to connect this without the cable, because you can switch it between Bluetooth mode, where it communicates directly with your PC, or you can use the cable. I've been using it with the cable because I figured why not, saves me thinking about when I'm going to need to charge it. So right, let's just stick this back on. Okay, so it's on. Now if I power up the base, and then I'll bring up the the Fanatec control panel, and I'll show you what shows up. So you've got the wheelbase here, and then this is what it's detected. So basically you can bolt any wheel to this now and you'll have force feedback. So that's how you use it. Basically the wheel itself, the rim that you put on it, isn't communicating with the wheelbase. It's communicating with your PC. So that is that. Everything's up to date. And so if you want to change between, I'm going to move to this view. If you want to change between Bluetooth and wired mode, you press and hold down button 22, which is this one to the left of the Q Controls logo. Hold that down, at least I think it's that one, while you power it on. Power button's on the back. So if I power that on now, hopefully we've got the little, I don't know if you can see that, but we've got a little Bluetooth light there. So this should, if I bring up the Cube software, you'll see it's detected the wheel. These are the default colours I've got it set to. So the Cube Control software, CubeSet this is called, and there's not a lot you can do with it really. This encoder pulse width. So I'll explain this. When you're moving an encoder and you're trying to move it, you know, one click at a time, what you used to have trouble with the Fanatec wheel is these encoders, you try and move them one tooth at a time, and they're so soft you accidentally move a few quite often. So I used to just swipe it to do one click. But if you try and move it one step at a time, sometimes it'll move a step, sometimes it'll move forward and go back to where it was, sometimes it'll go two forward. Because you can't adjust the encoder pulse width. So with this, I've got it set to 66. It defaults to 100, and the higher that number is, the harder it is to move two at a time. It's 0.66. It's 66 milliseconds. After you click it, you can click it again. Now, if you move that all the way to the bottom, which I've tried, sometimes it'll jump 2 steps at a time. It depends on what sim you're in. They're all slightly different. ACC, I found that 66 is just right. But if you move that up higher, basically if you try and do 2 clicks fairly quick, quite often it'll just do 1. So that's what that adjustment's for. So with ACC, I've got it on 66, and if you have a look, you can see it. Don't know if I can enlarge this or not. No. But you can see when you press buttons or turn the rotaries, it registers in the software. So what else have we got? RGB. This is where you can change your RGB settings, and they're pretty basic. So if you click on a button, you can pick a colour, slide that up and down for the brightness, click OK, and that button will be that colour. Very basic. If you do that, then click Save Settings. If you make any changes, click Save Settings after it for it to save it to the wheel. Paddles. This is where you can calibrate the shifters, which are amazing, by the way. So when I took the shifters apart and put some felt on the contacts where it contacts like the bump stop, and that's the sound you get now. It's very positive, sort of clunk, but not a click. It's really, it's amazing. So when I did that, I changed the throw because you only had to move it a couple of mil and it would change. So I've moved it to the maximum throw. So they move more before they bottom out, and they feel great. So when you do that, I'll do one now. When you want to calibrate a shifter, just click calibrate. So it's now calibrated the resting position. So click and hold it, click that, and that's it. It's done. Click Save Settings. It'll say OK, and there we go. There's that. So it's the same if you want to do that. You can do the clutch bite point if you want a dual clutch. I don't use that personally, but you can do that. So to calibrate the clutch paddles, press it all the way, click save, and that's the clutch paddle done. Do that for each of them, click save, done. Device here is just to check for update, so firmware's up to date. So as soon as I powered on the wheel when I first used it, there was an update there, so I did that and just took a few moments and it was done. This is just what version the CubeSet software I've got running. Firmware version October 23, that's the latest version. So let's close that. I would really only use that for doing an update and to calibrate the paddles. I wouldn't bother with the lighting. So what I've been using, and I'm only just starting to get to grips with this, so bear with me. Right, so for ACC, this is Simhub, and I've only just started with this. And so default colours, very similar to the Cube Control software. You can do everything in here. I've got the brightness set to 60%. So if I move the brightness all the way up, I mean that's very bright, more than bright enough. And you can do it all the way down until it's off. Don't know why you'd want to do that, because pretty lights look good. So yeah, I have that set to about 60. Right, so that was just the default colours. So Profiles Manager, if I click on that, I've got a few profiles here. So this one I've just labelled Test because I'm kind of experimenting with this one. Let me just MPX main. Let's load that up. Right, now I was sent this. This is for the Grid MPX. Adam sent it to me. He says, yeah, I'll just throw it on and try it. And a few things do work on it. So if I edit profile, I'll bring the menu over here. And how do I do this now? So open test data editor. Right. So now that is showing, hope you can see that. That's the pit limiter flashing. Where's the... I'll just bring the little test data thing over here. Right, so pit limiter on, let's just click that. So indicators, you can just about see the yellow there. This is Adam's, how Adam had it set up. Flags, yellow flag, I've got that set to the 4 center ones. The MPX has got a lot more lights on it than this has, so I had to change a few bits to get it working. So that's the blue flag. Doesn't look like it's flashing there because I've got it set to just be on. And where is the start? Trigger engine start. So this is what it does when you start the engine. Pretty cool. Do it again. I like that. Anyway, I'm going to load up the profile that I'm actually using and modifying at the moment. So let's load this up. Edit profile. I wish it wouldn't move everything over to the left monitor. And let's bring up the open test data thing so I can trigger stuff. So yellow flag, I've got those to flash. And if I speed limiter, so let's put the pit limiter on and I'll show you what you do. So I've got 6 buttons flashing. Now this is the speed limiter animation. If you want to make them flash from blue to green, you can see the flashing blue and green. And this camera probably isn't picking up colours very well. I'm really sorry about that. I just wanted to show you some of the features. I just have it set to black so that it's just on off. And it's the same with so the start position, that is what number 1 means. It starts at the first LED. If I move that up to 5, you'll see that it now flashes 6 other buttons further down. And so starting from number 1, if you increase the LED count, you can have it. If you go all the way to, hang on, let's see how many. 17. There you go. So 18 configurable LEDs altogether. That's with them all flashing for the pit limiter. So let's just bring that back down. So I thought 6 was just enough to, you know, to know that the pit limiter's on. So at its most sort of basic level, you can go into so much more detail. It's unreal. You can go into layers upon layers, but I haven't got that deep into this yet. But that's what I would do. So Simhub, you can download it for free. I paid a fee of, you pay a donation to have it permanently at 60 FPS. So like if you've got a screen, it updates at something like 10 FPS if you're using the free one. It goes up to 60 if you've got the paid version, you know, the license. So you just make a donation of, you know, like £6 upwards. So I think it's well worth it for the effort that they've gone to make this take control of all the wheels, and this really maximises this wheel with what you can do with it. The basic software for the wheel, I just the CubeSet one, it's okay, but you're not going to get any real functionality out of the lights other than just picking the colour. So Simhub is brilliant, and if you wanted to use a different wheel, then you know there's a big list here of what wheels and DDUs are supported. So even tablets. So you can do. I'm hoping to get a DDU at some point, and then I'll do a video on whatever it is. I quite like the look of this grid DDU5. That's quite nice. So is the Asher Racing one. But yeah, that'll be another video. But it does support a lot in here. So yeah, brilliant piece of software, and you can launch the game from this software as well. You can set it up to have different profiles for each game that you load up. Sorry, each sim you load up. Didn't mean to call them a game. And as that, I've just got to go to my cheat sheet. Right, let's go to some downsides. Now there's only 2 things that niggle me a little bit. First is I really wanted a wheel with good thumb encoders, and the ones on the grips are absolutely spot on. I love them. Now, don't know how well you can see this, but these ones in here, let me just, actually it's probably easier if I go to the other scene. Okay, so these thumb encoders in here, trying to get it to focus properly. Yeah. See these? They feel great to turn. Really nice, much nicer than the Fanatec. Nice indentations. But the only thing is, they're kind of protected by the case and the face of the wheel. So you can just about get to the teeth. You see how one of the teeth is towards the top of the opening? Now if I move that up, like, see at the moment that's in an awkward spot. I can't get hold of a tooth to turn it. I have to put my nail in there. So it's quite hard to turn these. Now that I've moved it up, I can feel the tooth. I can go up a click, I can go up another click, and then it's in between again with no tooth exposed. So these are quite awkward to get to. So I've not been using them. So that's it. I wish they didn't. I wish they weren't protected by the face and the case. I wish they were more out in the open, because like these ones are just, I love them. They're just so satisfying to use. Same satisfying click you get with the rotaries. They do feel amazing. Just such a satisfying little click. Paddles just, I can't see how you could get them any better. They're a lot easier to pull than, I'd say, the Fanatec shifters. Although they do feel amazing, I'd say they're about, the Q Controls ones are about half the strength needed to activate the paddle compared to Fanatec shifters. They're still very good. I really do like them. I think for the price of, what was it, €350, I still think this is quite a hard wheel to beat for functions and everything, all its feature set. And yeah, it's a good wheel. It just hurt my hands. It just wasn't suited to my hands, the shape of it. And those rotaries are awful. Yeah, I was always knocking them with my thumb by accident. So that doesn't happen anymore. So literally, I'm just absolutely over the moon with this wheel. It's my first sort of, you know, higher end wheel, and I can't say enough good about it. One other thing that's slightly awkward, although I'm used to it now, the power button is inside there. If I can get the camera to focus. There you go, can you see it? The power button's just that tiny little dot in there. Now when you press it, right, I've switched it off now, the button's sticking out so I can feel for it, although you need long fingers because you have to, my finger's on it now. So, easy enough to turn it on, turning it off a little harder because it's now flush with the body. You've also got these switches here that I'm using for wipers and fog light on the other side. So let's just put the wheel back on. There we go. So let's go back to the main thing. So I think that's about all I can think of that you need to know. I can't think of anything else. Magnetic cable is brilliant. You just wrap it once around the stem, stick it on, and you don't feel it. I was a bit worried that having a cable there you'd feel, but when there's force feedback kicking in, you don't notice it's there at all. I might do a race, maybe tonight, I'm not sure, but I'm going to do a race or two with it in Bluetooth mode to test that out. I have tried it, just practicing, and it worked fine. Battery life, it's 2000 milliamp battery, and they're claiming up to 40 hours. So I don't know whether that's with the lights on, with the lights off. Well, it's probably not with the lights off because I'm sure it would last for a long time without any lights. But I will put that to the test, and I'll let you know how that goes. Back to my cheat sheet. The buttons themselves feel very clicky. Very short amount of travel. No, they don't move about. Like the Fanatec ones kind of wiggle. Fanatec buttons are fine. They're nothing special. I've never had one fail, so yeah, they've been fine. I'd say these feel better, much more clicky. Yeah, slightly less travel than the Fanatec buttons. Yeah, the Fanatec rotaries are fine. Quite a lot of force needed to turn them, but these are just, and they're aluminium as well, so they've got that cold to the touch feel. I think they're amazing. So that's the battery covered. Clutch paddles feel amazing. They're easier to pull than the ones on the Fanatec wheel. Really lovely and smooth, very adjustable, and you can adjust the amount of throw on it. Let me just check. And one other thing that surprised me, and I don't know if this is down to the squishiness of the grips, but the notchiness that you feel in Fanatec wheelbases. Now this is the DD Pro, so it's a bit smoother than the DD1. Now while it's just sitting there with nothing running, you can just about feel the notches of it, the like armature like going between the magnets, which is just something you get with outrunner motors, and you just about feel that. Now I don't know why, but I can't feel much of that anymore when I'm driving. You could still feel it with the Fanatec wheels, and for some reason this feels smoother now using this wheel. I can only really put it down to maybe the grips. Maybe the grips are kind of dampening, having some kind of dampening effect on the graininess, but something just feels that little bit smoother now, and it's got to be something to do with the wheel, whether it's the grips or whether it's just that there's more hardware bolted between the wheel and the base. Yeah, maybe that's it, but yeah, it feels a little bit smoother now, so it's quite nice. And I've reached the limit of what I've really discovered with this. If I find anything else exciting out, or get any, if I make any good profiles, I'll let you know. Yeah, you got the 7-way funky switches with rotary function as well. They're excellent. And that's it. So I'll leave you guys there. Just a little bit of information about my DD1 that's gone back for the second repair now. They've sent out a new one, so I'm getting a replacement. So I'll do a video on that when it turns up. Who knows? But it was dispatched on Monday. I don't know if they're sending me a new wheelbase or new wheelbase and wheel. I sent them back the wheel and the base. So it'd be nice if I got a new wheel, because I'd like to have the blue handles look bright blue again, because as much as I clean them a lot, don't look as good as they did when they were new. So I'll let you know what happens. I'll do a video when it gets here. So that's about it. So if you need to, if there's anything you want to ask, if there's anything I haven't covered, just fire away. And if I can answer it, I certainly will. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope I haven't bored you. See you soon. Bye.